Awesome, awesome. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Jim. Good morning, everybody. So you just heard the what, the how, the strategy, the build, the programmable network, and the ecosystem. It's what we're doing to win in Cloud 2.0. So now I want to talk about what matters most. What's the proof? Because here's the thing, in our category, there are a lot of companies that can go and tell a story. The question is, does the market repeat it back? Do customers, do analysts, do partners, do they start saying the same thing without us prompting them? And so I want to start with a simple customer-rooted truth. In the AI economy that we're talking about, trust is becoming the product. Customers are betting their operations, their security posture, their AI ambitions, their infrastructure that has to be fast, it has to be resilient, it has to be safe. So when we say the trusted network for AI, that is not marketing poetry, it's actually a buying requirement. Because in Cloud 2.0, if the network doesn't match the moment, AI cannot thrive. So what we're doing is we're building these scenarios that have focus on the customer outcomes. Analysts are changing their language, partners are leaning in, Lumen's becoming recognized as different. These are things that reduce friction, improve performance, and ultimately support the economics that you're going to hear Chris walk through in just a little bit. So I want to start with some of the early indicators that show some of this, our brand, our reputational shift. What we did was in the beginning of 2024, we talked about how we are the trusted network for AI. It wasn't to be clever, it was to be very clear. And customers were waking up to a new requirement. You heard Jim talk about this. New requirements that they have to support. AI changes the network demands, and customers need a partner to build for it. The market's validating the strategy. I want to talk about a couple places that we see this. So if you first look at brand clarity, plus 12 points. Now, it is rare to actually see double-digit growth in this category, but what we're seeing is the market's embracing the vision. It means more enterprise decision makers understand the simple story about Lumen. What do we do? Why does it matter? Why are we different? And our brand helps clarify that vision so that the people that are telling the story that need to understand this, the CIOs, we can go have a clear conversation as they look end to end for their business. Then as we think about the narrative shift, plus 63 points in media sentiment. And this is a sharp, favorable move. The headlines tell you why we're seeing that kind of growth. AI infrastructure, partnerships, leadership visibility. It's credibility compounding in public. And then if you look at customer advocacy, plus 21 points in recommendations. I trust this metric a lot, and it means a lot. It means this because ITDMs are trusting Lumen more with our conversations that we're having. We're having them with different decision makers. It's not just the network operations person, it's the CIO, because the CIO knows to have an AI strategy, you have to have a data strategy and you have to have a network strategy at the same time. And we also know you don't recommend a network partner unless they can go deliver. Delivery, reliability, security, responsiveness. So, you see a couple of these awards up there. Year-over-year NAS Leadership Awards, cybersecurity accolades. These slogans are earned. And, this is really about how can third parties recognize us also as this trusted backbone and having these capabilities. And the awards are great, very happy to receive those, but it's about the customer experience. It's always about the customer, and our customer experience is showing up in different market signals that are making a difference. We know that when customers win, brands strengthen, analyst coverage shifts, and our recommendation rises, and that's what we're seeing happen here. Now I want to translate this here into customer choice. Why are customers picking Lumen? In Cloud 2.0, customers need 4 things at one time: capacity, performance, control, and reach. And they need it without complexity. And so those 4 boxes you see at the top, they're not just labels, but they're differentiators our customers can feel. If you first look at capacity, access to Corning's cutting-edge fiber technology. This benefits our customers with some of the highest quality and bandwidth glass available in the market, and it's for Lumen customers. If you then think about performance, 400 gig ready, less than 5 millisecond performance. Jim talked about this. This is AI era physics, and it changes the workloads that are even possible. Telesurgery, drones, robotics, and there's so many emerging tech scenarios that require this. Third, you've got control, on-demand services. Turn it up for your needs, take complete control. Our network becomes our customer's network. And you get cloud-like controls, you get provision, you get scale, you get change. And fourth, Kate talked about this ubiquitous and universal design. It's a consistent experience across environments, connect from anywhere. You're gonna get the same experience, on-prem, edge, cloud, data center. Now, if you think about the other network players here, customers, as they're looking, typically see three main archetypes. But Lumen is the one who's bringing them all together. And Jim also talked about, as a customer, you're looking for someone that can help you do this all together in the right way. If you think about legacy telcos, national scale, but oriented around wireless, fiber to the home, convergence, they have a different center of gravity. If you then think about cloud-based network providers, modern customer experience, but they don't own the physical network. And that limits the economics, it limits capacity, it limits control at scale. And then you also have fragmented fiber. You have this strong in pockets, but it's fragmented backbones. It's fewer on-net data centers, they're challenged to scale, and they're not built for the AI demands that we are talking about. And it all comes back to what this means for customers. For the first time, customers have one place to get the four things at the top: capacity, performance, control, and reach from one trusted partner. In other words, Lumen is here to build and lead that reset that we use because we've got the owned physical advantage, digital programmability, and a modern customer experience. We are focused on how we get ready to get our customers ready for the demands of AI. And speaking of customers, I want to take you through a couple, because let's make it real with them. In our mission, we talk about igniting business growth by connecting people, data, and apps. And how do we do that? How do we talk about it? Quickly, securely, and effortlessly. This is the how that customers feel. So let's take how you can really translate these words, and I'll tell you, it's not something that has really been associated with telco ever. So we're going to work really hard to make sure our customers feel that every single day. If I start with Pac-12 over here, longtime customer, legacy connectivity, longtime Vivix relationship, they are modernizing how live sports gets produced. Remote production, tons of live events, zero room for failure. The broadcast landscape needs are changing as well, and yesterday's networks won't do for them. Here's the game changer that they were thinking about. They had to figure out a way to turn up gigabit capacity in minutes, especially when you think about multiple events, multiple sports happening all simultaneously, and they started to run into these scenarios. They had real cancellation risk, time-sensitive, high visibility, revenue on the line. What they did was they partnered with us. They looked beyond Vivix, they looked at our NAS capabilities, and they enabled a fast way to turn this up that saved the moment. They repeated it. They used this again and again for their live events. They were able to reduce that risk and ensure that we, watching those sports, never miss one of those critical moments that we get excited about. And that's what we mean by quick. If I think about Apex Datacom, they're an IT consulting and software company. And it's really about trust that you can operationalize. You think about the rise of ransomware, DDoS, all of these sophisticated attacks. It is hard to stay protected, yet nothing could be more important. So they started with infrastructure at the edge. And as they thought about how they could build this platform, they really leaned into security in a different way using Lumen Defender Plus. And what we were able to do is we were able to take their solutions, stack these together, and make it so that they could get this to their customer in a really quick and seamless way. Not adding it later, it's not a bolt-on. You can't think about security later. Customers want this embedded. They need the protection with fast deployment, less customer work, And what was great about this platform that Apex Datacom was building is that they're a customer, but they're also a channel seller. So they were able to take this and get it to their customers quick, easy, fast. And I want to talk about, on the right side, you see Arctic Glacier. Now, as we know, it's a bit too cold in New York this week, but I'm going to tell you a little story about a cool customer, because one of the things, you've heard of them before. You've been to your grocery store, you've been to a gas station, and you've likely bought ice from them. And they should not be slowed down by IT. But what they would tell you is that their IT was disjointed. They had outdated tools, they had strict compliance, and they needed all to simply work. So what they did was they moved from a legacy connectivity solution into managed services. They got a NOC, they had a service desk, and they're using something called customer premises equipment as a service. What this means is they get these new hardware upgrades without the upfront cost. They stay modern, and they have a simpler, more reliable environment. What changed for them was fewer vendors, fewer handoffs, fewer steps, and that gave them better uptime and faster time to value. It means more cold drinks at the neighborhood party. Because here's the thing, when you distribute 2 billion pounds of ice across 75 customer locations, I gotta tell you, they're the ones with the cool network. So across all three of these, you've got quick, secure, and effortless. Quick helps businesses be agile, which means they're more competitive. Secure reduces risk and increases customer confidence. And then effortless reduces cost and complexity. And that's how the strategy we've been talking about is turning into customer preference, and preference we're watching turn into momentum. I want to close quickly with just some outside validation, because it's what keeps us honest as well as we build this. Our customers, that include the largest hyperscalers, the largest social networks, the neoclouds. If you saw today, we just talked about Anthropic as a customer of ours as well. They are choosing us because we are sharing a vision. We are pushing the boundaries of what cloud and network together, those solutions can enable. They're trusting us both on the supply side and on the demand side. Our AI ecosystem recognizes us as part of this infrastructure layer that customers need to become AI winners, which is what every customer is after right now. And it goes from building customer GTM plans with Palantir to security solutions with Microsoft. Our analysts also recognize this shift. They're seeing us as revitalized. New leadership, new culture. You heard Kate talk about this. You heard Jim talk about this. But when our management team works together, we are painting the picture of what this AI economy needs and thinking about our customers first. We're doing it in a way that is ready to disrupt, because we see this emergence of this new category for AI-ready networking. Old telco playbook. It's sell contracts, it's compete on price, it's explain churn. Disruption is different. You sell outcomes. You remove that friction. You become a platform customers can trust with their own business. Because the only way this changes is through the lens of the customer, and it is being customer obsessed, one of the behaviors that we've been talking about. It's the shift that we are seeing. You have to go from connectivity as a commodity to the network as a platform. Our customers are seeing this benefit every day. We're working with them, and I'd love for you to take a look. Let's roll the tape.
I'm Raju Kakalapudi. I'm the Chief Technology Officer at FanDuel Sports Network. FanDuel Sports Network is building the next generational sports platform. We broadcast, produce, and stream thousands of live sports events across the country. From our fans' experience perspective, we want a highly reliable, secure, low latency platform. So when I took over the role a few years ago, not only did we not have the scale, the latency was a challenge. If you look at Lumen, they have delivered at the highest levels on sports media broadcasts. And here in sports media, milliseconds matter. From the time you capture an image on the camera at the venue to the time you see it on your screen, it's all data that is traveling behind the scenes. Lumen is the backbone for us to move the data in milliseconds also keep it secure and reliable as the data is moving across the country. They're also able to provide content at the edge. So now I can personalize for you as a fan the ads that we generate if you like a certain player. Now you can see all the highlights in milliseconds. Lumen made the impossible possible. The network transition was supposed to take 9 months. In 3 months, we were able to achieve the entire backbone of the network transition, which resulted immediately in a 10x reduction on the latency side. Speed, scale, seamless, secure. I said, Jesse, look, I'll give a story because you guys truly made a difference for us and continue to make a difference.